Go.
Hey guys, welcome back to my November video. Thanks for watching.
Pretty good, isn't he? Little bit of an intro clip there from one of my support clients and students, Adam. Hi everyone, welcome to the November training video. I was somewhat reluctant to post this one because I ended up rolling my ankle a little bit through, and so a lot of it is just boring stuff. But again, I also think it's important to share that process because it's happened, not even just me. There's been at least 5 people I know in the past few weeks that have rolled an ankle, which is quite the normal thing for trickers. But starting this month off, I kind of just wanted to get accustomed to some stuff on the air track. So double A twist I haven't done very often, so you saw me do a few there. And then I noticed one of the trickers that from Sydney, young man who's amazing. His name's Jordan Peterson. I know that might rub people the wrong way because of the other guy, but no, his name is Jordan Peterson. He's a very good tricker from Sydney. And I saw him doing hook, touchdown, raise, triple cork off the air track, and he stomped it. Now, I've done hook, touchdown, raise, triple cork on floor when I was a young man and had healthier knees, but I felt like I could commit to actually just fixing up my double cork instead, and then it ended up accidentally spinning past 2 a few times. So no legit triple cork attempts, but maybe one day. Another weakness I have, and I tried it a few times this month and I didn't even get it. Like, I landed it in December, but I haven't done snapu in quite a while, and so I was just trying to get the idea of like how it feels again. So none of the snapu attempts I did in November I actually landed, and a big part of it is, first of all, just building that awareness and blocking over the top, and also making sure that there is some kind of a kick. I haven't done this trick in ages, and I really only want to do it once. So I believe these clips are from the following day, and Joe was asking if I could demonstrate what a janitor flip was. I know I was learning it back in 2010, I tried it, but I assure you the goal was not to create like a punch spider kind of thing. All I was actually trying to do at that point was do a touchdown raise punch from half. So this is, I think, the same night where we had our Halloween session, and Trunks brought like a legit katana to the session. So I ended up trying to see if I could make some whoosh whoosh sounds, and I sure did. So I know this session my focus was to see if I could handle punching because I wanted to know if I could do double back comfortably again. So I did a couple of preps on the air track to see if I could lift up high enough, and you'll see that my legs rotate a little bit too slow. Used to have a lot more power. So I do make the double back and it's okay, but it's just one of those things where I feel like I'm rotating really slowly.
That's okay, tough shit.
Even with that, I knew I had enough power to kind of take it to the floor, but I still wanted a thin mat at least. I don't necessarily want double back on floor, but I wouldn't mind being able to do it to like a thin mat. That's good enough for me now, if I can do it, so we'll see. It definitely took a lot more psyching up than what I thought it would, or what it used to. I did end up pulling it over to the thin mat, but that being said, all I could really feel about it was how heavy it was. Trunks was awesome. He was very, very positive about seeing one, but it was definitely one of those things for me where all I could feel was the mistakes. And yet, we had a red Teletubby come in and stomp a dub-dub. Anyway, this was, I believe, the Saturday after. Another trick that is a big weakness of mine, just due to lack of practice, is my double B twist. So I try to mix between a couple of different setups just to get it right, but the problem with it that I feel like is that I'm focusing too much on popping off it, that my back leg isn't lifting up enough. So yes, I got it, but it certainly wasn't a very legit double B. And then what I usually do if I have a little bit of time left and the students are needing the floor and I'm not working is I'll try and focus on some more like 2-hitters or some OC stuff on the harder floor. So I was trying to really turn my hip over the top and point my toe on the broken touchdown raise to give it more of that hyper hook look, if that was even in the cards for me. So I believe this was the following week, and so one thing that I'm also not very good at is raise for swing through. I never really had big issues doing raise for like vanish or anything like that, because you can play with the levels of inversion all right, but raise for swing is just not one that I worked on enough. So I was trying it from this weird step instead of like my regular step across raise. Was kind of like, essentially it's kind of more like a carry through without actually doing the hook first. But speaking of which, from that point, I knew from a lot of skills like this, I tend to generate a lot more power and step in correctly from a hook. So what I wouldn't have minded getting was raise to double cork. So I tried to see if I could do it from touchdown raise.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Tori hated when I did that last night. She was uncomfortable. I think the joke is that I've started saying to some of my students and workers at work whenever they come in, just the phrase, beautiful day, isn't it? Because no one in their right mind would ever say that as a greeting to anyone. And so we've just started making that a thing at Red Dragon where you just say that to people and then awkwardly wait to see how they would respond. So I'm pretty sure that's what that clip was about. And it's still been going on like a month since then, so I'm sorry for everyone who I work with. But yeah, going back to what I was saying with the raise, I noticed watching these clips back that a big problem with it was that like I was focusing on lifting over the top relatively fast, but my chest and shoulders weren't coming up enough with me. So trying to swing a raise, oh, hello Yasmin. Look at that wave. She's got big abs. But I was trying to focus on like with the raised swing to go over quickly, but my chest was leaning too far forwards. Now, I was just working some double full variations off the air track, but the reason why I'm crashing them all the time is because I was trying to get used to this new setup we have where we put some more stuff underneath the crash mats to make sure that it was people weren't landing at the bottom and hitting the concrete. What I also think Joe was just doing then was showing me a clip of Damon stomping something at that session. So that's what I vaguely remember. But yeah, so the variations weren't too bad. Like I could bring the shapes out okay, but just because the mats were a bit higher than what I was used to, I just couldn't really stabilize.
Uh-oh. What are you doing?
I don't know what I was saying in that clip, but it doesn't matter. So trying to see if I could make that shape come out on floor, and even though while I could, the store was too much for me to actually be able to control the landing. And so I think the joke was we were listening to an ad commercial that was something about skincare, and if I didn't land the trick, I'd have acne forever. So that's all right. That's the life I live. Now, trying this, there definitely wasn't an intention on actually being able to land beach with Shuriken Twist. Shuriken Twist is not a strength of mine, so I was just trying to see if I could understand how to even get the idea of it. That was me trying to do sideswipe semi, and all the ones that I was doing before worked, and then the moment I got the camera out, I could not land it. So I think a lot of us trickers can relate to that. So I believe this is probably closer to the end of this week, or that week, and one of the focuses that I wanted to get back was seeing if I could remember how to get Dub back. So what I wanted to start with was just a basic combo that I could get into full swing dub. Eventually got it, but my control isn't really consistent. So part of it is due to committing to power tricks now, and committing to actually putting effort in with a lot of the skills. And I know I understand when I remembered hearing that when I was younger, or even when people would say that, it might seem like it's a thing of laziness, but that's not actually what it means. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like, oh, I can't be bothered to commit to actually pulling through with the skill, but for a lot of trickers, and especially now, I feel it more than I ever did before, where my body will understand what it needs to do, but it doesn't have the mind to muscle connection to actually commit to what I need to do to be able to perform the skill correctly. So even with this combo, like full swing double cork, while it's not overly difficult, trying to get it right from the combo, I couldn't really commit to the swing. So you can see, like, I'm lifting up too early, or I'm not even like trying to pull over in two. When I am holding for the double cork, it's holding too slow, or like that one, bailing out. So committing to a skill, I understand sometimes can be due to laziness, and other times it's just due to the body, the mind and muscle connection just isn't there. So it just takes more attempts. So after getting that combo to full swing dub, I then wanted to see if I could even just get double full swing, and that was not happening at all. I think the only time I did double full swing this year was at Red Panda Gathering 2. I'm not trying to come up with an excuse, but the big reason why was because in January this year, I cooked my ankle. I'll put an image up a little bit later in the video, but I landed in between the gap of the black mats that you can see in the back there, the ones that I was doing stuff off the air track on. And unfortunately, underneath those black mats, there wasn't really anything except the concrete below. So I landed and twisted my left ankle. And so swings were scary enough to do as is, let alone double full swing. So I don't think I got double full swing back until this month, which is December. So this is a Friday, and I don't know why I just felt like relearning some tumbling stuff with the air track, because I haven't tumbled in a very long time. So just because at Red Dragon there isn't an awful lot of space for tumble passes, and not only that, but I don't trick at AC too often because most of the time I'm coaching. So now I've got my mid-drift ready, and I've got my cheer and gymnastics gallop going on. And while air track, I haven't done whip to double full in a while, actually. I don't remember. But as you guys can see, I'm drifting a little bit, because that's a problem if you come from like a tricking twisting, or you focus on tricking twisting for a while, is that we start twisting into skills a bit too early. So trying to remember how to do it from a tumble set, which is like wait a little bit longer and then pull into the twists. So yeah. I then went into some standing or step back skills. And again, another thing is just lack of practice, but also where I just am not generating enough power. I also do a lot of silly things. Yeah, so you can see it's all shoulders twisting. My legs are doing nothing. And so that's a big problem with a lot of my twisting stuff recently, where muscle memory takes over. Yeah, again, by that point, I just knew it was time to leave, like, standing double full, step back double full attempts alone. It just wasn't happening. And I also make a lot of sounds. Now, one thing I found really weird with this is that in this back handsprings, just to try and get the targeting, try to get my aim right and everything, is that I actually do something with my hands that I usually would never do, which is turn my hands outwards. I actually teach my students to try not to do that. Yeah, you'll see, even then I was like, what is happening? Usually I don't do that. In gymnastics, I was taught hands facing in, or if they're facing upright, that's not too bad. So this is the next week on a Monday, and this session was just, it was already after work and everything, so I was just trying to understand. Yeah, I think that's me saying to a parent that I'm so happy that it's getting worse.
I love that.
But anyway, trying to get aerial semi-front swing raise. And like I said before, raise in general is not a strength of mine, let alone trying to swing out of it or it coming in from a front swing. But I also know it's one of those things where I just need to do the reps. Unfortunately for me, this didn't end up going too well, so you'll find out in a few clips from now. But yeah, I'm trying to get the timing right.
It's so heavy.
I'm trying to understand how to stand up more. And so there was a bit of a breather between, that's why I changed shorts, a bit of a breather between now and when I was trying these attempts. The goal I wanted to get with this was actually just a small, like 3-hitter, not including the hook, that I saw from my friend Javi Tricks from Spain. Absolutely love him. He's incredible. But hi Mealy, you'll see, I don't think it's this clip, but it might be the one afterwards where I do not prepare correctly and I roll my ankle. So I think it's this one. Yeah, there it is. So unfortunately, it's also one of those things that can happen if you cool down a little bit with tricking, because I know those clips are playing back to back to back, but from when I had my work pants on to when I had my shorts on, there was about a 25-minute, half an hour gap in between, because I was chatting to one of the parents. And so I was hoping I could just pick up where I left off, and then I suppose I cooled down enough, or there could be a number of different reasons. But again, as trickers know, shit happens. Like things just go wrong regardless of how prepared you are. So this is, I believe, the next day, if not the day after. I'm not sure. But I definitely know that at this stage, this is where the rest of this video will get a little bit boring, because a lot of it is me trying to make sure that I stick to the same habits I tell my students, which is working around an injury, not through it. So I was doing a couple of testers to see how my left ankle was holding up. It wasn't too bad, thankfully. It ended up just being like a small sprain for a lack of... I didn't get a scan or anything because I didn't really need it, but I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going ahead and making something way worse. So...
Look, bud, I'm feeding the chickens.
I just fed myself. I'm ready to go to sleep.
But you're too pretty to be a chicken. Last time I tried to feed you, that didn't go.
There are some things that the ankle still was not very happy with. So it wasn't too bad, but I had to play it relatively safe. So again, as usual, and I said this in the last video, I'm pretty sure every tricker that I know has a warm-up with round and hooks in it. Basically, again, doing a little bit of a good side and dark side, but it's the whole session, or the whole point of this session, was just to see what would and would not hurt my left ankle. Because while obviously some skills aren't a big deal, like doing 540 where you jump, kick, and land off the other foot, with this one, even in tornadoes, I had to make sure that when I was landing on my left foot, it could handle that level of rotation. So not only in takeoff, but more so with landing. Even things like after the 540, when I land on my right foot and then put my left foot down after, you can see I'm still trying to be very cautious with placing that left foot on the floor, because if I twist it, that's gonna hurt. Trying to get some cheat 7s in a nicer shape as well. I have a bad tendency to either kick too late, or it ends up being a little bit too crescenty, or my upper body is not in a good position. So yeah, it's tough to... It's good to still have the ability to train while having an injury, but it's tough to train around it even with basics. This is me trying to understand how to do cheat crowd awakeners, only because we were teaching it in class this week, and I actually learnt how to do crowd awakener from a pop setup, so I wanted to make sure I could actually demonstrate it from a cheat setup so that I could teach it. And then the rest of this is just basic, like seeing if it can handle 2-foot takeoffs. It definitely wasn't up for doing any swing stuff to my knowledge from what I remembered, so I just did some 2-foot takeoff stuff. Now, the reason why my snapu sucks, and you can see it with the side swipes, is I'm struggling to block myself all the way over the top. Some of them aren't too bad. Oh, it's Marge. There she is. Some of them aren't too bad. Other ones are a little bit slanted around too much. That's what makes doing snapu a little bit tricky. So from this stage, I was trying to come up with a combo that was very much like right foot dominant. So the goal was, I never really got to it because, again, I couldn't commit to, even though it was right foot dominant, I couldn't commit to the wrap 9 at the end because I'd have to land on my left leg. And my brain and body was just like, nope, that hurts. So the goal was cheat 7 double, wrap 540 into wrap 9. So it wasn't meant to be side swipe, it was meant to be more upright and then doing it to wrap 9. But in the wrap 9, for me to be able to land on that left foot, I need to know I could trust it. So I just practiced a few katana wrap 9s then to see if it was okay. But then when I tried to go back to doing it in the combo, just couldn't do it. Was kicking off target. Again, like what I was saying before, couldn't commit. Now this was, I believe, 2 days after that. So by this stage, my ankle was feeling a lot better. I still didn't want to test it with like bigger skills. So I was actually trying to learn how to do, I believe it's called B-kick dragonfly knife. Couldn't really quite bring the first kick out, which was the struggle that I had. So you'll see for a while, I'm just trying to understand how to make the first kick actually a kick, because all it looks like I'm doing is just dragging the leg across and not actively kicking much. So one of the things that helped me was actually changing the angle. So instead of trying to do it on my usual kicking line, I actually tried to do it more turning forwards to face in front of me the way I was traveling. That made it easier to bring the first kick out a little bit more. So you'll see through the attempts, hopefully, from what I recall, it started getting a little bit better. But yeah, it just wasn't quite getting it right at first, and then I think I managed to make it somewhat work towards the end here. Yeah. Butter knife, I love that trick. I've used that trick for ages. I fell in love with it after watching Morgan do it all the time, but yeah, just took a bit. So now going to just like right foot landing stuff, because the goal was touchdown swipe to GMS, because I had a combo that I wanted to use at the Wednesday session this week that had that like touchdown swipe to GMS. Now, this goes back to a similar problem to what I was talking about earlier in the video, where scoot to power tricks or scoot to pop tricks usually weren't too tricky for a while. But one of the things I've struggled with, and you'll see it here, is that like I'm not flipping over the top enough. So I start lifting up, but my feet aren't coming over the top of me quickly. So I think part of it was because I was working on a lot of variations like shurikens and stuff, and it made it hard to get the flip inversion right. But this is the combo I was talking about before. So just a basic OC one. And then I wanted to use oh, here goes Trunks. So that was his very first double full swing cork. So he stomped at that session, and it's not a spoiler alert, he released it a little bit ago, but the same session Trunks got double full swing cork is the same session he hit his first dub-dub. I don't think I filmed it on my phone, so it won't be in here, unfortunately, but go and check it out. It was absolutely bonkers. So I'm now testing to see if my left ankle can handle doing stuff. Also, Trunks and I are sisters of sorts. See if you can figure out what kind of sisters we are. But yeah, so testing to see if my left ankle was okay. And while I'm obviously spinning slow as, at least my ankle could handle some swings. So the goal was to just be able to control touchdown raise double cork so I could pop out of it or jump out of it. And another thing, while it's improved a little bit, was getting the timing right. So that was Trunks' first ever attempt at a dub-dub. That's like maybe 15 minutes after he did his first double full swing cork. Like maybe 15 minutes. Kid's a beast and he's getting jacked in the gym at the moment, so keep your eyes out because he's going to be he already is an absolute menace. So I think I'm saying something. I don't know. But from here I managed to pull off just like I think. Yeah, it's zooming in, so obviously. Some kind of just a combo. Yeah, okay. So it was an alright save, but it is just one of those things where I wanted to get more control. And so here I'm with my friend Matt, who I haven't tricked with for a while. You don't see him in the frame. And I'm trying to make sure that I can get that inversion right for the carp full D-leg. And then this one I'm trying to work on. It's like a delay full hyper hook. So I think I do it, but the hook is not very sharp. Like it comes out, but it's more of a drag rather than this nice sharp kick. Okay, so we're now towards the end of November because we're at Bounce for Joe's birthday session. So myself, Damon, and Joe had a bit of a challenge. Well, we didn't mean to do it at first, but we all unintentionally started working like gainer switch trips, and we were getting close. Like it took us a few attempts. I think Joe was the first to snag it of the day. Yeah, there you go, like stomped it. And then it took me a little bit longer to get the timing right because my angle was just yuck. I kept turning way too much to the side like that. But yeah, if you probably can't see it from there, but the shirt that Damon and Joe are wearing was a gift from Damon. It's basically got Damon and Joe's face on it. I can't remember what the words were, but it was very funny. And also, not only is Damon a very funny boy, but he stomps quad full on the tramp so fast. So I ended up trying to see if I could do double gainer on tramp, but I just was too much of a coward, so I just went into the double back too early, so I didn't really try it again afterwards. And then Damon and I spent a large portion of the rest of that session. We go back to gainer switch trip in a little bit, trying to figure out how to do shuriken cutters. Obviously, it's a very popular trick. Like a lot of trickers can do shuriken cutters really well. For me, as shuriken cutters weren't really that big of a thing when I was tricking, like the earlier years of tricking, or even the first like 10 or something years while I was tricking, they were around, but they weren't as popular. Box cutters were really popular and hyper hooks, and so me trying to understand the hip turn and holding the leg out, I really struggled. So Damon gave me some really good advice, which is to see if I could do illusion twist on the trampoline and then think of it like that. So it's tough to tell because obviously one of the things, and I say it to students as well, and I try to make sure that I keep myself accountable for it as well, where it's like, you can't fix something if it doesn't exist. And so I just wanted to see if I could understand how the skill works at first, and then I can focus on making it look better. So Damon and I are just going back and forth trying to see how we can figure out how to just get the skill before trying to execute it really well. And the problem with one of my shuriken, or with a lot of my shuriken cutters, is as I do the first kick, my right leg starts coming up with it, so it actually kills the shuriken shape. Not only that, but the hyper hook ends up being this just dull, drag-looking leg thing, like a pirate that's just got a leg coming out being like, I don't need this anymore, and then just chucks it over the board. So it's just a bit gross, but it's okay. Yes. So we're trying to figure out, so Damon's got a much better idea with the first shuriken shape, but us trying to like execute it well, like that was a much better one. So yay, Damon. So it's always fun working with like other trickers and working on stuff that like we want to do together, or just mixing it up a little bit to see like what we can learn from each other and everything. And so this is when Damon and I were trying to do like the cork shuriken cutters, and both of us, like I think after 1 or 2 attempts, were just like, not doing that. Like it just, not yet. It's still too foreign of a movement for us that we just don't quite get it. So yeah, there's absolutely no shuriken. My body is simply turning. There's no kick at all really, so we're like, okay, back to the drawing board on that one. And then Webster double A twist. Yay. So the rest of the video is actually straight after the bounce session. We came to where Joe and I work, and then I was already pretty exhausted with my weights training, which I've been starting to move up a little bit recently. Trust me, you can't tell. And then incorporating that with my regular tricking training and other kinds of training as well. So by the time I was at this point, going to bounce and then coming to work, I was absolutely gassed. And my right calf muscle has a tendency to start seizing up. So what I ended up working on a fair bit, the only thing I wanted to do, I had no expectations except let's see if I can figure out how to get tactful from a couple of different setups. Not very good at it. One of my friends, Tim Farley, who, if you're a tricker and you haven't heard of him before, I'd be very surprised, as he created the trick cork and back out. His ability to do tack falls and tack dubs were just way ahead of his time, so way ahead of our time, so go watch his stuff. This is the same day, I believe, or it might be the following day. It's like the last Friday of November, and I was just trying to work on how to do kind of like a Sailor Moon shuriken cutter. And the problem I had was, again, as usual, holding the shape out. So I tried to tone it back a bit to do like a Sailor Moon 7 double, and then tried to get it right from like angling it a little bit more at a time. So that's it. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the vid. See you later.